Boys, what is up? It's your boy Robin Studies here again with another video. And today I'm going to tell you guys how Body Game gives you VIP status. So guys, over the years, dating a bunch of girls and talking to a bunch of girls and messing with a bunch of females over the years, it gives you a lot of experience, right? It gives you a lot more intel about females and, female nature in general. And I remember being that skinny loser trying to get girls to sleep with me. And, just trying to get a girl's attention in general. And I noticed a difference. When I got jacked and, I started taking care of myself, started taking care of my looks, actually trying to, improve on every aspect of my life, I noticed the shift in how women would treat me. So when I was a skinny loser and I didn't really care about anything, girls would give me the boyfriend treatment, right? And what I mean by this is, they would make me go the extra mile just to sleep with them, just for them to be submissive, just for them to, text me back. They would make me go the extra mile. They would make me do the most, and I would always get so mad, and I had so much resentment towards women. I was like one of those black pill motherfuckers, right? The guys that just think that the world is against them and, women are so bad and women are so toxic, and that just wasn't the case. So over the years, as I got jacked and I improved my physique and I improved my looks, I realized that just wasn't the case. That was just my reality when I was a skinny loser, right? So now my reality now is completely different. And the reason why it's different is because I don't have to do any of that shit anymore, I don't have to jump through hoops just to sleep with a girl, right? If I want to talk to her, she's more submissive, she's more responsive, she doesn't take hours to text back, she doesn't give me all these shit tests, and I realized even the girls that would say, oh, I want a man to do this, I want a man to do that, I want to be taken out on expensive dates, I want that chivalry that men used to have back in the day, I don't want a toxic dude, I don't want a man who just wants to sleep with me, right? The girls that would say that are the same girls that are letting me bust it open on the first day. On the first date. I kid you not. And I started to think what was the difference? This girl back in the day would have rejected me in a heartbeat, right? She would have made me go through all these hoops just to sleep with her. She would make me go through all these hoops just to text her. Just to get in contact with her, right? But now it's she still has her same guard up, but it's I'm sleeping with her on the first date. That doesn't even make sense, right? So I started to think I started to pay attention to what these girls do and not what they say, right? And then I realized some of these girls that I was sleeping with in the past, some of them are popping up with boyfriends, right? And the boyfriends don't look anything like me, right? I'd argue the boyfriends look like bums. I'm going to be honest with you. And I started to realize, I started to break it down, what made me so special? What made me stand out? How did I get what I wanted? How did I get what I wanted? And these guys have to settle for a relationship or have to settle for all these dates, and they have to buy them gifts. They have to fly them out. They have to do all this shit just to be with them, right? And I started to realize wow, maybe this body game shit is real, Maybe if you become that 1% man, maybe if you improve your looks, maybe if you actually look like you take care of yourself, these girls will give you what you want. And, back in the day, I used to think I had a lot of girls that were, I had a lot of girlfriends, right? Friends that were girls, right? I had a lot of those. And, being raised by a single mother, you tend to listen to what females say, right? Instead of watching what they do. So I would always think when I was back in the day when I was a skinny loser, I would always think I have to be so chivalrous to this girl, I have to do all these things. I have to buy her gifts. I have to be so sweet to her. I have to be the nice guy in order to be with her, right? And that just wasn't the fucking case. Once I got in shape, once I got jacked, I skipped the line, I got that VIP access. I skipped the whole line. I did the things that I wanted to do. When I started taking control of my life, I started taking control of my relationships. Guys, I'm gonna tell you this story really quick. So not too long ago, this was actually very recent. This girl that I met at the gym, she was really cool with another girl that I slept with at the gym, right? And they got like, and I know they're really cool because they would come to the gym together. You know, I'm seeing them on Instagram. They're liking each other's posts. They're interacting with each other. And, you know, normally, girls will always say, oh, you slept with my friend. I don't want anything to do with you, right? That's disgusting. I don't want leftovers. I don't want my friend's seconds, right? So they won't even give you the time of day, which happens a lot, right? So when I talk to her, right, we're interacting on Instagram, you know, she's liking my stories and shit. And, you know, we get to texting and everything like that. I'm like, she hasn't brought up so-and-so, right? She hasn't brought up such and such. Let me see how far I can take this. Let me see if I can actually get what I want, even though I slept with her friend. Let me see if she brings it up, right? A couple weeks go by, we link a couple times, you know, I get the job done, and she didn't say a word about her friend, right? She didn't say a word about her friend. And it's not like I slept with a friend years ago. Guys, I slept with her friend like probably last year, right? Last year I slept with her friend. And this incident, in this situation happened like probably, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, right? They're still cool. They still interact with each other on Instagram, right? Nothing changed. But when I talked to her, it was out of sight, out of mind, like it never happened, right? Like it never happened. Guys, when I was a skinny loser back in the day, I wouldn't even have to sleep with a girl for her friends to be like, no, I'm not messing with you. I would have had to just talk to her, right? I remember girls would dub me, girls would reject me for simply just talking to their friend, right? Like flirting with them, right? Not actually having a committed relationship or sleeping with them, just flirting with their friend. And they would be like, ew, no, next. I'm not speaking to you. You know, you flirted with my friend, you talked to my friend. Oh, I don't want anything to do with you. And I'd be like, what the fuck? I would be so confused. And that's when the resentment started to build up, right? But it wasn't until I changed my physique, I changed my appearance to where I can actually start doing the things that I want to do in the relationships, right? So guys, you getting jacked and, you know, using body game to your advantage is real, right? It's a real thing. You get the VIP status that these other guys got, right? You get the VIP status that these other guys aren't getting. Right? The normal dude has to jump through hoops to do what you want to do, right? But you don't have to do that shit. You don't. And another thing, let's just say you made the transformation, you got jacked, you started wearing nicer clothes, you started wearing cologne, taking care of your health, right? So now you may be wondering, where are the girls? Brother, you don't have to use that same mentality that you had before your transformation anymore, right? You are living a new life. You have a new reality now. So the girls, they come up to you, right? And if they're not coming up to you, they're giving you choosing signals. And your choosing signals may vary, right? For me, when I used to work at the gym, oh my God, all the members, all the girls would come up to me and be like, oh, are you a coach? How much is training? You know, I'm really trying to get training. I'm really trying to lose weight. I'm really trying to get a fatter ass. Bullshit. They just wanted their backs blown out. They didn't want no damn training, you know. But girls will use these things as a means to talk to you. You know, you just have to be aware, right? You have to understand what's going on in the present moment so then you can react to it, right? And then score. So yeah, bro, you don't have to chase anymore. You're now attracting women, right? They see you as that 1% man. They see you as the prize, right? So there's no more chasing or nagging or, you know, double texting, constant DMs, you know, paying for fucking Tinder. No, you don't have to do any of that shit anymore, bro. You don't have to do any of that shit, right? And it's not just about getting jacked. No. Once you get jacked, right, you're going to start prioritizing other things about your appearance. You're going to notice, okay, cool, I'm getting jacked, right? My clothes don't fit anymore. Let me get some nicer fitting clothes, right? Let me start wearing cologne to the gym. Let me start, you know, making sure that my beard aligns with my new jawline that I have, right? My new jawline that I worked with, right? Let me make sure that I have a nice face, like a nice hairstyle that insinuates my jawline and makes it look good, right? So you start noticing a lot more things and you start being more conscious about your appearance, right? So that's what body game really is, bro. It's not just about getting jacked. So yeah, man, that's how these guys are getting this VIP treatment, skipping the line and sleeping with these girls on the first night, second night. And, you know, I always find it funny when I'm chopping up with one of my boys and, you know, we bring up dating apps in the conversation. And they'll always ask me like, yo, does Bumble work for you? Does Tinder work? You know, does Hinge work? And I show them my profile and they're like, what the fuck? They look at me like I'm a fucking alien, right? Because I have all these matches, I have all these messages. Guys, I don't even pay for any of the services on these apps. I just use them like a normal person, right? Like a normal guy, right? And I get a fuck ton of matches, a fuck ton of likes and messages. So it's like, I'm no different from my friends, right? I'm no different from you guys. I just fucking locked in, stop making excuses for myself and prioritize my appearance, right? And use body game to my fucking advantage. That's all I did, bro. I'm not fucking Houdini or anything like that. I'm not using any magic tricks on these girls, bro. I'm just doing what I just told you guys, right? So it's always funny because they're like, oh man, now I gotta lock in. And they're always like, oh, it's cause he's swole, it's cause he's swole. No, you know? Me being swole and using body game to my advantage is, yes, that's a big part of it, but it's all in one, right? It's not just one thing. The physique built the foundation. Now I can use my appearance to my advantage, right? Now I can use the fact that I have a more chiseled jawline, right? I can use the fact that I look good in a lot of my clothes, right? I can use the fact that when I go on vacation and I take a shirtless picture, it just looks so crisp because I'm that jack guy on a fucking yacht, right? Everything just aligns, bro. Everything comes into alignment. So yeah, bro, that's how I'm getting all these matches. That's how I'm talking to all these hot girls, you know? That's how I'm talking to all these baddies. I'm using body game to my advantage, brother. It's not a trick, right? There's no gimmicks here. You know? And when you have the social proof, right? You guys seen that video I did with Julia, that one girl? And that's just one of the girls, you know? That's just one of the girls I've talked to. Plenty of the girls that I talked to that look like Julia, right? So yeah, man, that's how you use body game to your advantage to get that VIP treatment. I want you guys to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And until next time, guys.